If you are a Tennessee Titans fan, you just witnessed the only good thing that came out of this football season all year long, and that was another Tennessee Titans loss. But because of this loss and a New England Patriot win, the Tennessee Titans officially own the number one overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft. To my knowledge, I think this is the first time this franchise, especially I know for a fact since they've been in Tennessee, but it's probably the first time in franchise history. Would have to look back in the Houston era and to see if they've ever had this. But it's probably the first time ever this franchise has held the number one overall pick. Of course, the Titans had the number two overall pick when they selected Marcus Mariota. They had the number three overall pick when they selected Vince Young. Of course, both of those situations, it did not pan out for the Tennessee Titans. Tennessee Titans have to get this right. And there's a lot of different avenues that they could go with. We'll make some videos from now to the draft about the Tennessee Titans. I'm a Tennessee Titans fan, but we cover anything and everything football on this channel. So if you are new to this channel, hit that subscribe button, join the team, join the fam. We're closing in on 10K. So, this video is going to be all about the Tennessee Titans and where do they go from here. I honestly don't know where I stand as far as who the Titans should select or what they should do with the number one overall pick, because it's not just as simple as you've got the number one overall pick, you hit it, and you go from there. You have multiple options because you definitely could get a haul for the number one overall pick. There's going to be quarterback hungry teams out there who would be willing to trade the house for it. And I get it. The Titans do not have a franchise quarterback on this team. Here's the thing. This is the reason why this season has went so bad for the Tennessee Titans. It's not just the quarterback position, but I will give the Titans props. They were going to live and die by Will Levis. They said from the start that this was Will Levis's opportunity and that they were going to give him the opportunity to become the franchise quarterback. They went out, and I thought they did a decent job of building pieces around him. Now, they still do not have a right tackle. They still do not necessarily have a right guard. They took a right tackle with the 7th or 11th overall pick, made him left tackle. There's still a lot of issues that they've got to get fixed. But this was a live or die season for the Tennessee Titans based off Will Levis, and they died. They just did. Will Levis is not the guy. But they know that going in now. It's not like they only gave him so many reps throughout the season. They found out who Will Levis is, and he's not a franchise quarterback. While a lot of you are probably in the video saying we all knew that, look, you probably felt that way, but we don't know until you fully give him an opportunity. I think now he's had more than an opportunity, and the Titans know he's not the franchise guy. So the big question is, who is that franchise quarterback for the Tennessee Titans? That's going to be up to them to find out, and they've got time from now to then to decide. Is it one of these quarterbacks coming out of the draft, or is there a veteran quarterback out there? Probably not a franchise quarterback, but a bridge gap quarterback. They've got to decide, because it's not just cut and dry. Do you draft Shedeur Sanders, or do you draft Cam Ward? What I think... So look at the Chicago Bears. I understand the Chicago Bears did not have a season what they wanted. They started out good, but then it went downhill and they fired their head coach, all those things. Chicago Bears right now sit at 9th in the draft order at a 4-12 season. But they have a building block. They have a foundation because they owned the number one overall pick. And then they were able to, a couple years ago, they were able to get a haul for it. The Carolina Panthers traded a haul to get to Bryce Young, and they ended up selecting Bryce Young, and they gave the Chicago Bears 2 first-round draft picks, 3 first-round draft picks, whatever it was. When the Chicago Bears had the number one overall pick last year, they took Caleb Williams, then they had the 9th overall pick or something like that, and selected Rome Odunze, and that's all because of they had the number one overall pick. They traded out of it to build a foundation and get more guys. The Titans have more issues than just a quarterback situation. It's not like if they find the right quarterback that all of a sudden now they're a Super Bowl team. They've got to build a lot. So you have to determine, is Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward the guy who could change your franchise forever? Tennessee Titans have a new stadium opening up in 2027 as of right now. And they need to enter that stadium with being a competitive football team. So they have to find a franchise quarterback. Do they find it in this draft, or do they find it in the next upcoming drafts, or do they find it in a bridge gap and then he ends up taking off? Anything like that. Like, they've got questions that they need to be answered. They have to look very hard. I believe the only two options as far as franchise quarterbacks, you've got projects with other people, but I think it's Shedeur Sanders from the University of Colorado, and it's Cam Ward. And we can make videos on those guys going forward. Those will all be videos for the offseason. They all come with pros. They come with baggage or cons is what you want to say. So they're going to have to figure that out, or one of these teams that's quarterback hungry. So the draft order is Titans as of right now. Titans, Browns, Giants, Patriots, Jaguars, Panthers, Jets, Raiders, Bears, Saints. That is your top 10. Of course, Giants absolutely need a quarterback. They're the third overall pick. Jets probably could be looking at a quarterback. I don't think Aaron Rodgers will be back there. Raiders definitely need a quarterback. And then Saints, what do they do with Derek Carr? Could the Titans trade back to pick number 3? If the Giants said, we have to get our guy, we will trade up 2 spots. We'll give you a haul. We'll give you pick number 3. We'll give you the first. We'll also give you pick the round 3 pick. We'll give you next year's first. We'll give you next year's third as well. And then we'll give you a third after that. I don't know. Like, you can get a haul. If the Titans ended up trading back to pick 3, they could get the other quarterback if they wanted to, or they could get a Travis Hunter, an elite wide receiver. They could get the edge rusher from Penn State, and then they get all of these picks to accumulate. Like, you have to think about that. Or you have to know, without a shadow of doubt, Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward is the guy who can change a franchise, who he can be the face for the next 10 or 15 years. They've got to get it right. And, I mean, you think about a couple years ago when the Bears decided to trade that number 1 overall pick. I would say as of right now that was the best decision. They ended up getting Caleb Williams, Rome Odunze, other players from it, while the Panthers just got Bryce Young. Bryce Young has not really panned out like the Panthers have hoped so far. Since he's been benched and came back, it seemed like progress has been made. But their whole future hinges on Bryce Young. If he doesn't pan out, now you're looking at it reset again, and they don't need to do that. But the Bears have all of these picks because they decided to trade out of that pick 1 year. That could be the Tennessee Titans, and they could build. Or if they don't trade back to pick 3, maybe they trade back to pick 7 with the New York Jets. You can still get an elite talent with the 7th overall pick, but then you can accumulate multiple first-round picks in the future. It is tough. They are in the right position. Now, next question is, who makes these decisions going forward? They have to decide, and when I say they, I mean Amy Adams Strunk, and she's going to have to sit down and think. Of course, she has fired people for a lot less. I don't know if she wants to fire again, but Brian Callahan, is he the head coach going forward? I don't know. I don't know if Brian Callahan could be a great head coach. But I also don't think it's fair to say that this 1 year was his only opportunity. He was forced to use Will Levis, of course, and they had to. They traded away Derrick Henry, or not traded. They let him walk, and you saw one of your best guys in franchise history just walk, and he rushed for another 1,900 yards for the Baltimore Ravens. They were in a rebuild set, and can you confirm that Brian Callahan is not the future head coach going forward? I don't know if you can. I also don't think it's far-fetched to say, look, we're just going to clean slate and get rid of him and get a new head coach in there. I understand it'll be fine. Look, I would hate that for Brian Callahan, but he's going to get paid handsomely to walk away if that's the case, and we'll see from there. But also, I know this. If you decide that Brian Callahan is not your head coach, then you've decided that Rand Carthon is not your general manager also. You better not fire the head coach and then keep the GM. Rand Carthon, if you fire him, I don't know if it's fair to hire a new general manager and say, look, this is your head coach. You got to deal with them. That's so tough. That's the position that we're in right now. I feel like when you fire a general manager, it's probably best to fire the head coach and have a clean slate. Don't know if that's fair for Brian Callahan, but hey, it just is what it is. This is the NFL. It's a business, and they've got to decide that. I don't know if I can trust Ran Carthon to make the right decision. He's had questionable decisions going forwards in the past. Don't know if the left guard Skoronski pick was the right decision at a 7th overall pick. You selected a guard who wasn't known as like a can't-miss product, just a very solid guy. There were multiple players there that they could have had. It probably would have been a much more key building spot. So, and then, you traded for Ladarius Sneed, and he barely played this year, and multiple people knew about the knee issues, and it's just a whole you could make a whole video just based off Ran Carthon and his evaluation as a general manager. I think it's time to cut the slate with him. I forget the guy's name who's kind of buddy-buddy with him as far as making decisions in the Titans organization. His name has left my mind. I don't even know if it's him. I kind of feel like you just need a clean slate and get someone else in. I would prefer someone with some NFL general manager experience, not a new guy coming up. I think it's fine to even find a guy who maybe kind of did okay in his last stint, but he has opportunity to grow from it. I think they just need somebody from experience. But with all that being said, the Titans, because they lose today to the Houston Texans and the Patriots beat the Buffalo Bills, who sat a lot of their starters, the Tennessee Titans now hold the number 1 pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, and they've got to think about all their options. Shedeur Sanders, real quick, we'll hit on that, comes from the University of Colorado, son of Deion Sanders. I know there's some baggage with that. What will his dad do? How much will he do this, all surrounding Shedeur Sanders? Can Shedeur Sanders put a franchise on his shoulders, make all the right decisions, and lead a team? All these things, I don't know. I know he doesn't have any established huge wins at the University of Colorado, but they did build that program, and they were respectable and things like that. And if you look at Shedeur Sanders, so coming out of the draft in the past 10 years, C.J. Stroud had one stat that stood out that was amazing, and it was like total QBR rating, which goes into accuracy, goes into throwing decisions and putting the ball in harm's way, all these things about protecting the ball and making smart and timely throws. C.J. Stroud had the best QBR rating in the last 10 years with 74.5%. Shedeur Sanders has the second best in the past 10 years with 73%. Cam Ward is at 64%, and Will Levis had a 64.5. So there's some people out there who think Cam Ward could be another Will Levis. I don't know if I want to go that far. When you look at Cam Ward, of course, broke the record for most passing touchdowns as a college football quarterback. A lot of that has to do with getting extra years, COVID, and all that stuff. But he's still a veteran quarterback. He's a great quarterback. Comes with a lot of what I think I call the X factor. He can make plays with his legs. Big, strong quarterback. And if you look at the University of Miami, he won them a lot of games. They had a terrible defense, and he had to put up so many touchdowns. Eventually, they ended up losing their second time, and they could not get into the playoffs because of their defensive deficiencies. But he will turn the ball over. There's a little bit of hero ball in Cam Ward's game. Say, we can break those things down. When you hear Cam Ward and hero ball, big, strong arm quarterback, can move with his legs, but will make some bad decisions trying to force things, it does sound a lot like Will Levis. When you go back to Shedeur Sanders, he's very efficient as a passer, a 74% QBR rating. He's going to get the ball out of his hands to playmakers. That is a nice thought when you're thinking about just trying to get the ball and manage an offense. Jaden Daniels was really high on that list as well. But then, his sack rate's a little high, and is that because he's trying to hold the ball? Not for, there's so many different things that goes into it. And they've got time from now to then to figure it out. Is it Shedeur Sanders? Is it Cam Ward? Or do we need to trade out of the top pick and accumulate a bunch of picks? Honestly, I'm okay with either one. You just got to make the destination. You got to make the decision. Is it Shedeur Sanders? You love him. You think he's the guy? Go with it. Cam Ward. Is it him? Do you love the guy? If you do, go with it. If you don't love either two, then you need to find a team that's going to be quarterback hungry. They're going to be out there, and you need to get all those picks from them, trade back. And then if you do that, if you trade back to pick 4 or pick 7, you still might end up getting one of the guys, one of the two. You very well could. And then you come out looking like pretty like roses, but you would accumulate a lot of picks, and it would really help you build the franchise that has a lot of needs. There's needs all around for the Tennessee Titans. But this is the hope for Titans fans. They have an opportunity to reset and build it from the ground up. They do have a lot of really good pieces on this roster. I still think J.C. Latham's going to be a pretty good tackle for years to come. Skoronski, I think he's just going to be a solid guard. I really like the center that they picked up, and Quessenberry, I think it's Quessenberry, I forgot his name. He got injured, but was the number 1 center in free agency, was playing very well before he got injured. They need a right guard. They need a right tackle for sure. They've got some pieces at wide receivers. They need some younger guys there. A Travis Hunter would be great for the Tennessee Titans, or the wide receiver at the University of Arizona would be great. So you got to think about those options. Running back is okay. They could probably use another body, and then building around the defense, building those guys up, kind of from that front 7, I think is what's critical. Their DBs are not terrible. They've got an aging Jeffrey Simmons, but he's still good. And then Devontae Sweat. Sweat is who I'm trying to think of. He looks like he's going to be very good for years to come if he can stay healthy. So it's an opportunity. Titans fans should be pumped. I want to hear from you guys in the comment section below. Who do you want, or what do you want the Tennessee Titans to do? Is there a guy you're in love with, or do you think they need a trade back for a haul? I want to hear from you guys. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section below. As always, guys, hit that like button. It always helps out the video. Stay humble. Stay kind. Watch this next video. Peace.